And it's your boy, John Darko Chapman. And
Waters.
to my right, I guess you say it, now you're facing, it looks like he's on
One of them
right.
ways. Yeah. Robert Waters.
Robert
Man.
Waters, graphite.
That's me.
Graphite.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Like. So what's good, man? What's been up?
Not too much, man. Just doing some work. A couple Valentine's Day pictures. Nothing crazy, man. Just trying to keep on top of it. Get these. Yeah, trying to get this moving, man. That's really what I really want my focus to be. Is trying to get this moving. So this has been good.
I feel you, man. I spent all day yesterday fixing audio. For a couple of these joints. But I think I got it straight now and so forth.
Okay.
I don't know why there seems to be a little bit of a weird delay over, but we will fix that, folks, and get that. But yeah, man, that's about it. So, what's up with the news, the current affairs, all the usual.
I don't even think. I mean, everybody's cell phone went out today. You hear that? Yeah, man. Everybody's cell phone. Everybody on AT&T, their cell phone stopped working today.
That's why.
Everybody,
Honestly, I got Verizon, and it's the worst. Like, I be getting no reception in the most like common normal places, and other people are just like, oh, you get confused. Right. And they're expensive, and they will turn your joint off in a second. You miss it.
Are you serious?
Right. Vicious with it. I'm like, dang. So
I
got is the.
Oh, good. No. You got it. What?
I got it mainly for overseas.
Okay.
For their coverage. Seemed like it's good and all. I haven't even tried it yet, but we'll see. I don't know. We'll see how long. I got Verizon for everything else in my business, so it's like,
Yeah,
that's fast.
No, I will. Oh yeah, Fios is fast. Man. Fios is where it's at. I woke up this morning and like didn't hear from anybody, no family calls or nothing. And then 12 o'clock, is your phone working? I'm like, man, I've been sitting here just looking at the internet. I didn't even know. I didn't even know. He was like, yeah, man, everybody's phone's out. Get on Facebook. Everybody's like, yeah, is anybody else's phone not working? Okay.
I did not know that. I didn't know that at all. I kept everybody out here be like T-Mobile.
Yeah. And Verizon must be. There's a lot of Verizon in Philly. I think Philly is a big Verizon city because they actually offer Fios out there.
Mm-hmm.
Fios isn't everywhere, so yeah.
Yeah, that's true. AT&T though, it's a lot.
Yeah,
there's a lot of AT&T out here too.
AT&T's everywhere.
Yeah, man. I know. Probably after we get off the show and so forth, when I get ready to get something to eat, man, probably going to check out the Netflix Avatar, Last Airbender.
Oh yeah,
it came out.
Yes. Okay, I'm gonna have to check it out. I'm skeptical. We'll see.
Were you an Airbender? Airbender fan?
Oh, I loved Avatar. Yeah, the first one especially. I didn't watch the second season, like the what's it called? Legend of Korra. I didn't watch that one.
It got a little weird at the end, but
yeah, I didn't see it, but yeah, that was good. It's coming out tomorrow. The Demon Slayer movie. Want to see that?
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's actually coming out in theaters. It's like a 1-day show. So
yeah, I know. When I was down Fashion Week and out Times Square, it was everywhere. It was like all screens everywhere. Yeah,
that's what's up.
Okay, yeah. I did not know that. Check that out too. Because which arc is this?
It's after the girl got her. Did you watch last season? The last season?
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it for you.
Well, I read the mangas too. So.
Okay. So yeah, after Nezuko kind of got her, became human again. She stopped being a demon. She could talk again. It's after that. This season after that. So I think he's training to be a Hashira in this one.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I've been watching. As far as anime goes, I was watching. Was it Undead Unluck?
Ooh.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wild anime. So Undead Unluck. What else? Of course, Solo Leveling.
Yeah.
So far though, I was just like, it's another isekai. Like I'm sure it gets better from what everybody's telling me, but from what I saw so far, I'm just like, it's an isekai.
I don't know, man.
It's a very good looking isekai. The animation that company
is crazy. Yeah, the art style is really good, but it gets outrageous, and it's it's one of the, it's like a serious power fantasy. The manga is really good. I love the manga.
I'll check it out. Now I did watch which is that work Ninja Kamui.
Oh no, what's that? I didn't.
It's basically it's an anime that's basically John Wick with ninjas. That's why I can explain. Yeah, it's that.
Check that out. I feel like I might have saw a TikTok like fight scenes of it, and then I just haven't watched it.
Crunchyroll original, like Crunchyroll finance.
Oh, I'm gonna have to watch it then. I'm gonna have to check that out.
That draw fire. It's about the same team. Well, I mean, it's by Mappa, but the same director and all that work on.
Okay. Yeah, it's got to be good. Yeah.
Anyway, what else is done? Dune's about to come out. I can't wait for that. So those of you who don't know, Dune is like one of my favorite movies of all. It really is. Well, not
that movie was
story, I should say. Not
yeah, the story,
science fiction story. Because the first 80s movie was terrible.
Yeah, those are bad. But what they did with the most recent one though, man, the cinematography in that movie is just really good.
I mean, I like how he because like everyone that tried to do Dune before, and there's like whole documentaries of other directors. I forget that other crazy director that was going to do all this wild stuff that was even wilder than the 80s one. And because who directed the 80s one? He's the famous director. That always
I don't even know. I don't know.
Well, it's going to come to me like towards the end of this show. I know it.
I'm sure I can, but yeah.
I know. But you know, Danny Villeneuve, who's becoming probably one of the best directors alive right now. And his cinematographer, I forget that dude's name. You know, he took a more practical and a more simplistic approach to it and focused on it just feeling more real and not so much fantastic. And it worked.
Yeah.
But yeah, I heard it's movie of the year already and so forth for the sequel to Dune and all that.
I'm ready for it. Like I thoroughly enjoyed the first one, and yeah, we need to watch the first one again.
Is it March 1st?
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know the date.
Yeah, man. That's about it as far as I know. Current news. Everything.
Yeah, nothing else crazy.
Yeah, it's been pretty slow week, whatever. But yeah, we got a good show for you. We got a top photographer coming on his day.
High rank.
By the name of
Dallas Logan.
Before we get into it, without further ado, let's roll those credits.
Yeah,
Dallas
Logan.
But yeah,
he's been in GQ magazine. He's worked for Ford. He's worked for Verizon, Disney. Like it's his. If you look at his page, his client list is massive. This dude has done a lot, and his artwork is freaking phenomenal. His lighting is great. He has a book that explains a lot about light. I've learned a lot from him. The dude is phenomenal. I mean, him and his partner in Crime Day, they just make amazing work. So it's been a pleasure watching his stuff, and it's a pleasure knowing him. Yeah. So we'll bring on Mr. Logan.
So without further ado, how are you, sir?
Yes. Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me. I'm excited about this.
Absolutely.
Coming on, seriously. You know, we started this about a year and some change ago. And you know, we're very hyped to get this rolling and get this back to where we want it to go and so forth, and get the show popping. Nice. There's a whole lot. I mean, there's shows where creators talk, and you know, photographers, and you know, have YouTube channels and stuff, and they talk about how to do this and that. But there's nothing that really is out there where, you know, we bring on all kinds of creatives and all the different, you know, aspects of, you know, who make the magic behind the scenes and everything else, and just let them just talk and, you know, speak about their experiences, their careers and so forth. And then what we try to do somewhere in there is give some tips and tricks and those people trying to make it and get in certain industries, and, you know, the thing, man. So we appreciate having you, sir, for sure.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So usually how we start a show off, especially with the new guests, it's pretty much from the beginning. So it's a podcast. It's long.
Okay.
So, so if you could, sir, tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit how you got into the business and how you got where you're at.
My name is Dallas Logan. Originally born in Cuba. I came to the United States in 1970 at 4 years old. Photography came to me organically through an uncle of mine. I had an uncle who was the reportage photographer of the family, and I never understood the camera itself and the printed image. And he had in our house, the family house, he had a large walk-in closet that nobody could ever go in. And I was always fascinated with photos. So one day, I must have been around 10 or 11, he says, come inside. And I go into the little magical room, and I watched him develop film and agitate a piece of paper into an image at 11 years old, and it was magic. And at that point, I was hooked because I never knew what, I don't know what I thought. When you look at the camera, you look at the photo, you don't correlate the two and how they work together until I saw the in-between part, and I've been doing that. So he gave me my first camera, which was a Kodak Brownie. 100 years old. It was a Kodak Brownie. We followed behind him, taking pictures and stuff like that, not knowing what I was doing. And by the time I got to high school, we were living in New York, and I went to a performing arts high school. And a dancer actress asked me, can I take headshots of her? She said, she'll pay me. And I was like, if my agent likes it, I'll pay you. And I was like, pay me? You pay people to take photos? I was around 15. And she's like, yeah, I have to pay for my professional headshots. And that blew my mind. Sometimes I wonder what world I was coming from, because now, once she said that to me and I started looking at photos, it could be a billboard, a magazine, a book cover. I realized it took someone to take that photograph. And I took the photos of her. She took it to her agent. The agent loved them. And they started sending me clients at the age of 15.
Sheesh.
And then I realized this is what I wanted to do. I desperately sought mentorship. A lot of Black photographers turned me down. And a lot. And the very first person to take me under the wing was a photographer named Rainer Hosh. And he's a celebrity photographer based in Los Angeles. And he started teaching me things. And at that point, I just started learning. And from there, I had a series of different mentors. Like I was mentored by Joe Greenberg, Yoko Grobe, Vincent Peters. And they helped mold me to where I am today. And that's it.
Wow.
That was awesome.
That is. Sheesh. Seriously, man, that's a journey right there. So, I'm so good.
I did want to learn from my brothers and sisters, and they weren't having it.
Brothers and sisters?
My Black photographers.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. So how has that been? Like, what's been your experience trying to work within the community? Because I know sometimes that's kind of a thing, with us is the gatekeeping and,
There's a few things that are happening with us in our industry, and not many people want to talk about it. And a lot of people want to deny the reality of what's going on. We all know this was a white elite vocation. If you wasn't white and it wasn't male, if you didn't have the money, you weren't doing this kind of work. So even though there was some amazing Black photographers out there, I was studying photography back in my time. We didn't care about the photographer. We cared about the work. So there was no nationality or race attached to the photograph. It was just the art. So I never knew who took any photos until I started getting serious and started really studying. And since the George Floyd incident, there's been a rise. Thank goodness, unfortunately, it had to be George Floyd to start this. There's been a rise of the Black photographer in the community, and thus making noise. And And unfortunately, instead of bringing us up, a lot of us didn't do that. A lot of us said, "Now I'm behind that door. You figure it out for yourself." And then after that, a lot of the camera companies, because it's not a photography business, it's a camera business, a lot of the camera businesses says, "Hey, we're starting to see this untapped market that we can get a lot of money from." And they started investing in the black female photographer. And then they started rising up the ranks. But it wasn't happening for the black males. And when I began to discuss that, it became a gender war. And I kept trying to say, it's not about you ladies. We're talking about black males getting in these same doors that you guys got into. And the arguments would start from there. And I was telling them, it was even about them. It wasn't about you guys, because it was somebody sitting in their office saying, how can we get this money? Because that's all it boiled down to. So out of the lesser of two evils, they started promoting black female photographers. And they got like the Sony Alphas and all this stuff, the Nikon people, the Pro Photo people, giving black female photographers a chance. And it had nothing to do with their talent. And everything could do with them being able to check a box.
Mm.
But they didn't want to hear that. They were calling us bitter. The older photographers, they were calling old and out of touch. And it's like, you girls have no idea. If it wasn't for George Floyd, you wouldn't be here.
Mm.
And those are the discussions that they don't want to have.
What was it about George Floyd that was the catalyst for that?
The world got tired.
Mm.
The world got tired of the brutality that was happening to black people, and they couldn't shove this one under the rug. And it was a worldwide phenomenon, not just happening in the United States, not just happening in the black communities. There were protests in Australia, Paris, Russia, China. It was around the globe. And when you have stuff like this happening, everybody knew the racism of the United States, but nobody wanted to talk about it. Now it's in your face. Now something has to be said, because when you talk to people who don't look like us, they think of a lot of the things that we say are in our heads. Like, oh, it can't be that bad, or it can't be that bad, or you really, I think you're pulling a race card and all that stuff. It's like, no, you don't get followed around stores. You can leave your house, and our day to day is leaving my house, doing what I need to do, and making it back home safely. That's our reality. We have to sit down with our young men and women and tell them what the world is like out there. So we have to have the talk. They don't have to have the talk.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. That's not the reality. And so because of that, they're not seeing what we have to go through in the world out there. And George Floyd galvanized that and put it in everybody's face. We told you about police brutality for years. And now you got the cell phones and social media and all that stuff. It's in your face now. Now you can't deny what's happening out there.
Yeah, it's been real interesting, man, in the last couple of years since George Floyd, the pandemic, all that time, to where it is now. From this, the almost, you could say, from, in a sense, even to the Black Lives Matter, Me Too, and some of these causes and so forth that started off in good intentions, now getting warped into other things, and then feminism and that's turned into, and then LGBT.
Yeah,
it's like every, I stare to say they, but as far as powers that be, and all conspiracy theory type stuff, but it's something to be said to how, whether we want to say it's the powers that be, whether it might just be Americans, and we got this bad habit of taking things to the extreme, or whatever it may be, that has led to where these movements and causes that started off for good reasons and good intentions have been spun from everything to corporate interest to just craziness, honestly, on some levels, man. And it's wild. It's wild that it can be something as simple as I've seen everything from brand, and so forth, to a person getting into certain avenues of business and other things just because of that, without any question of, so forth. We saw that
skill or talents, or
the Bud Light ads, so all this other crazy stuff, and it's an interesting world right now. I don't really know.
And all of those organizations, the black man is still the lowest man on the totem pole.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I don't know what we need to do to come together in order to make our voices heard. I remember Logan was talking about, he had his podcast, and they took all of his podcasts with the N-word, and they put it all together in the clip. And he almost had like 11 minutes of the N-word. And there was no uproar about it. And like Cre8ive said, because he didn't insult the right group of people. Because that's where it boils down to. In order for change to occur, you have to move the right people. And if the right people aren't backing it, there will be no change. And it's the Jewish community, and it was the gay community. They're very, very powerful. You can't just say what you want to say, and they're going to take it like it's okay. You can't.
Yeah. I've had so many, we had a discussion about this not too long ago, a group of friends of mine, and we were discussing a little bit about just Black people in a whole, right? And what we would need to do to get what we want to get out of everything that's going on, whether it's from everything from all our years of slavery and segregation and everything that's happened to us throughout American history, to even what Africans are going through in Africa and everything else. And so I always asked, I was like, we kind of got to a bottom of was one question you don't hear a lot in all of this, right? No matter what the rhetoric is, no matter what the story is and the narrative of what's being told through a lot of what's going on, it has been going on for years. What do we really want, right? So do we really want just a sorry? Do we really want just reparations? Do we really want just respect, right? Or what? And so when you really boil it down and so forth, and you get to the nitty gritty and the stuff that people don't like to talk about, so to speak, what you tend to find out is what we really want is power. And that's not a bad thing, right? But we're not honest about that sometimes. And we're not direct about some of those things. And I think that, as well as so many other things, is what leads to a lot of our problems. But with that said, okay, then how do we really get the power, right? How do we get the leverage that we need to be able to step to UN, step to the government, step to whatever, to go, hey, you're not going to do this anymore, right? So, as we see with other communities like Jewish community and so forth, which isn't that big of a community compared in retrospect of where we're at, is so forth in this country as well as other countries, right? The Jewish community isn't that big necessarily as far as population and where we stand with it. We're kind of the same level, they're smaller. So what did they do, for instance, that got them that leverage, let alone even to say Asian, certain Asian communities within America too, which only make up about close to the same now as Black Americans, which is what, about 12%. I think Asians like 10, something like that. So how do these small groups of communities gain these certain leverages and so, right? So when you really kind of boil it down, at least what we discussed about it was, one, Asians tend to have, what Asians have for one is a home country. They do have a home country that stands for them, right? Meaning that if, let's say, a huge amount of population of Asians started just, getting killed in things and a lot of the stuff that happens in America, let's say, or so forth, eventually over in China and so forth would have something to say about, right? But if that happens, as it is happening to, in real time to African Americans, we don't have a home country to go back to necessarily to defend us, right? Let alone Africa itself is splintered to all heck, right? And countries over there are struggling because of other forms of colonialism and so forth. So the biggest problem we have is we're splintered in so many ways, right? We're splintered like crazy. Then we have the other issue of even within our continent and in these countries, even in Africa, where we could pull more resources and more just people, which always helps. The more bodies and people and population you have to fight for something, the easier it is to necessarily, as well as resources and other things. But once again, that's been splintered like crazy from colonialism. And then Africa itself is just such a splintered country between, there's so many languages, so many countries, so many separations of everything. So it's a very tough puzzle for us. You know what I mean? And we're the lost tribe, bastard children in the middle, as far as African Americans go. And it puts us in just this very weird place to how do we overcome this? And unfortunately, the only way to do it now, and in the time we have, especially with all this crazy stuff and all this stuff, craziness they're predicting that's going to come down, financial crashes, to all the craziness of what's going to happen possibly with America, we're running out of time to put ourselves together. And it's like we have to seriously come together. And I don't know how that's going to happen. For us over the years, the only way it's been so far as that is somewhat proven to work for African Americans, has been a galvanizing Messiah-like figure. Whether that was Martin Luther King, whether that was Malcolm X, whether it was whatever, so forth. I don't think that necessarily is the answer that's always going to work with us. The preacher is great, but doesn't always necessarily get the action done as far as business and other things and the financial leverage that we need. But yeah, I don't have an easy answer. No one has an answer, but you got to do something. We're running out of time.
The funny thing is, the answer really is simple. It's the path to getting there, which is difficult. A lot of these other communities work together towards the greater picture. I don't have to like you. I don't have to agree with you, but we all want this one thing, and we don't do that. Mm-hmm. So whenever anything pops off, they come together as a group and they make change. Now, how many times have you been in situations, I've been in boardrooms and stuff like that, and I can tell Brad does not like Tad. They can't stand each other. But you know what? They come together and they make things happen. We're so busy talking about, I'm not listening to this person, we're so busy in the place of self and in the place of me, we're not in the place of we. Because if we all got to the same we and all said for the greater good, this is what we're going to do. Let's put Africa, put their differences aside. Let the United States put their differences aside. The blacks in the United States, the blacks in the Caribbean, put all that BS aside and let's all come together. Let's leave our differences at the door, because as they say, all skin folk and kinfolk, but we know we all want this. And that's what we don't do. We're so busy trying to stab each other in the back and get the bigger piece of pie on the table, and it messes us up every single time.
Or when we do get together, it's just we shall overcome instead of no, let's get this money. Let's get the leverage that we need.
So let's talk about the money. So you got these organizations that made tons of money. We can talk about Black Lives Matter. They made tons of money. What happened?
And then what?
Let's not even go. Oh, man. You know what? Let's go there.
I think that's one of our biggest problems too, is the way we think about money. We're kind of stuck in this, and this is, I in a lot of ways part with the broader Black community in the way that I think about money, because I'm very much pro free markets, pro economics, pro those type of things. And I think that we have such an aversion to it. Like we have these two minds. Like we want to get the money, but we also think that the economics or the capitalism or whatever is bad. So we kind of push it away as though nobody else is supposed to, as if we're not supposed to like it, but we want it at the same time. And
I think a lot of that
just commit to We just need to get it. We need to go after it. We need to make our own thing. We need to stop waiting for somebody to do it for us and do it on our own. You know, power is one of those things that can't be given to somebody else. Can't give somebody power, because if you give somebody power, the person who gave the power is the person who has the power. Can't give it away. So power has to be either obtained, earned, taken. That's how power gets amassed. And we're kind of stuck in this thing where we expect that somebody else is going to give us their power, and it's never going to happen. It's just never going to happen. So we have to build our own power. We have to amass our own power in the same way that my favorite quote is, or one of my favorite quotes is from Frederick Douglass. And they asked him, what should they do with black people after slavery, after all this? What should we do with the black man? And his answer was, do nothing with us. You already did enough. All the stuff you did to us messed us up. Leave us alone. Let us go. Let us do what we're doing. And I think that's a lot of the answer for us, is to be left alone and to be allowed to build, because we've done it before. We've done great things in the past, and we've been a lot better off than we are now. How do we go from Black Wall Street to what we have now? Doesn't make sense. Yeah, it was destroyed, but we built it back. It's not like it never, it went away and just couldn't come back. We rebuilt that. So we can do that. It's possible. We just need to quit waiting for other people to do it for us and give it to us.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack with that, because, and you kind of started on it, I'll say, with Black Wall Street, and I was going to kind of go there and add to that. It's like, one side, and I don't like to make excuses for a lot of the excuses that I hear and rhetoric that's been going on for some time when it comes to race and black people and certain things. I hate when we use that card sometimes when we need to get past that. So a lot of that. But sometimes it is true for certain things. For instance, because of so many different things that they have done over the years to oppress black people in so many different ways from Black Wall Street, because once again, like you said, we've come up so many times. You know what I mean? If you look at from when slavery ended to where black people were to where black people were going, we were actually moving towards becoming the economic power, because the slaves had skills that most of general, population of white people didn't have. So, but then that's when they shut us down from the unions, and they started the unions. That's when a lot of, and on it goes. Every time we tried to come up, they figured out ways to kind of kick us down.
Stop it.
And then you can even get into conspiracy theories or all that kind of stuff, and how deep that rabbit hole really goes to some of the stuff that they've done over the years, and CIA and everything else. But the point is that we have somewhat been conditioned to stay the servant working class, and why we've been put into this position to where most black people really don't understand economics, how to come up. So most Americans don't understand that to begin with. Period. Let's not get that twisted. But at the same time, for us, we have this whole kind of other demeanor to how we treat success and money and other things that is a little bit different. And yeah, it's tough, man. It's a tough change that has to happen to us.
But we weren't taught the power of money, so a lot of us didn't respect money until we had a problem with money. So in school, they want to teach us how to read, write, arithmetic. They didn't teach fiscal responsibility. When you learn fiscal responsibility, by the time you got to college, and they gave you all these free credit cards, and to us, that's money.
Right.
And then next thing you know, our credit was ruined because we didn't know the power of our credit, because we weren't taught that. A lot of them are taught these things, and this information is passed down. Generational wealth isn't just the money. The knowledge behind it is really, really important. And we weren't taught that. We don't get to really fully understand that until we hit our 30s. And at that point, we're cleaning up the financial mess we made of ourselves.
In our 20s, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In order to catch up. So by the time we hit about 40, 45, like, okay, now I understand having property. Now I understand what the stock market is. Now I understand 401ks and all that stuff, when we weren't taught that in the beginning. And to me, that should have been taught in the schools as children.
Yeah.
I don't need the most expensive sneaker because, I mean, I can go to somebody's house and I'll have 35, 40 pairs of $300, $400 sneakers.
And you don't see the opportunity cost in that room.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's two sides of that coin. Our school systems are just the worst, period, across the
Trash.
They were designed to keep all of us, whether it's black, white, whatever, in a very tight system to what they wanted America to become.
The trained workers.
What was growing because of the Rockefellers and the other, Rothschilds and all those. They designed that. We know this, right? By this state. Our people's level with it, the problem was that it was, people still were able to teach it, and wealth was able to be passed on through the family. Our breakdown of the family structure, how that was systematically done, is the real travesty. The thing is now for us is we can't just lean on that, on what happened. It happened. It happened.
Right.
It sucked. They did it. It's the worst. We got to get past it. And that's just where we're at. And that's the hard part, is getting us galvanized and together to get past it. Because once again, I try to stay away from conspiracy theories, man, and all of that stuff. But it's like, even with like Black Lives Matter, it's like so much of it sabotage and so many other things. Like, it's tough. It's really tough. So on another subject, so we don't get
we ain't monetized yet. No, we're good. We can talk about whatever right now.
It's all good though, because it's really into more of what we need to talk about, which is there is a problem though with Black creators in a whole right now. I come from a film background, and how I started in all this. Photography was secondary to me, in film and video and so forth was more first for me. And, I've been on that side of the business. And yeah, man, from Black Hollywood and every, everyone involved in the entertainment industry on that side of it, it's crazy, man. And I mean, you're hearing so much of the craziness now. And we were joking about this the last interview, and Cat Williams and all the other stuff, and talking to Illuminati and all this other nonsense. But at the end of the day, man, it's not a lot of doors open for us. Hollywood's doing this weird thing now where they're trying to somehow course correct it in this really goofy way of like, hey, look, we still like Black people, and we'll just throw you in the movies that make no sense, and all this other goofy stuff, and everything of just where it is now. And it's, man, we're the entertainment, and then on top of it now, AI and everything else. The entertainment industry is getting into a very scary place. For someone like yourself, Dallas, who's really been, had a huge career and has had a huge career in everything that you've done, where do you see the industry right now, and how do you feel about it?
Well, you said a lot of things. With the advent of digital across the board, movies, music, film, photography, it lowered the level of entry. Back in the days, you really had to work at your craft. You had to learn a lot of things. If you want to think about it, we had to learn chemistry, we had to learn math, we had to learn algebra. All those things came together in order to produce a movie. The understanding of sound, the understanding of movement, the understanding of light, all that stuff played a pivotal part in producing art. But today it's like, all I gotta do is run to the store. I go to Best Buy, they have a sale, I buy a camera, and now I'm in business.
Yep.
And then since the bar has been lowered so severely, everybody has been coming in calling themselves these artists. Some of them have been good, but for the most part, they haven't. And every time technology comes along and makes something easier, it lowers the bar even more. So, okay, I can't produce, not me per se, but a person can't produce awe-inspiring work. So if I do an AI, punch in a bunch of prompts, I want to get that work that Avedon did back in 1960 and it's not as good, better. And you can do it too. So we all can be artists together. And to me, it's such a bad thing. The best way I can put it. It's really, really a sad state of affairs. However, when I speak that way, I sound like a gatekeeper.
Mm-hmm.
When it's not that I'm a gatekeeper, I just want you to be better than you are. You have these tools at your disposal. Don't make it easier. Make it harder to do the work to build up the artistry.
I agree with you.
You have extra tools that you can use to make things better. It's just because the tools are there and make everything easier, it also makes it possible to do more. So you can get to the answer faster. And now because you got to that answer faster, you can build off of the last answer. Just like with cars, you know what I mean? Like they built the factory line. The factory line made it easier to build a car. But now, because it's easier to build a car, they can build a better car instead of just building the same car.
But the thing about it becomes this, is you can build a better car, but you skipped a bunch of steps in the middle.
That too.
And that's where the problem lies. So I'm in all these photography groups, and the biggest discussion is gear matters. I can't have that discussion. I can't. It's almost nauseating. But what begins to happen is somebody comes to me and they say, "Oh, Dallas, I like how you took this picture. Tell me your settings." I'm like, "That's not going to teach you anything.
Right.
You're not going to learn from that. Because I can give you all the settings you want, but then you're going to be in a situation where those settings aren't going to work. And because you didn't take the time to learn all those in-between steps, therein lies the problem." So you know what begins to happen?
A lot of troubleshooting.
Because you're walking in the door looking like a dun-dun-dun, we're coming behind you and they think we're all that way. They think we're all that way.
Yeah, it's I don't know why I just got the quote from Jurassic Park. What was that? Jeff Goldblum's character, where he I've been pointed. It would actually be where he said he was like, we trying to tell them where, you know, hey man, we cloned and made these dinosaurs. And he was like, yeah, but your scientists and people that did this, they took what others had to work for to get and had to figure out, and they went and tried to and stepped on top of that to make it without receiving the discipline required to do it. And so now that you're doing something so fast, you're not even realizing that like what you're doing isn't right, or what you're doing is what's the word? It's not sampling, but it's lowering this everything,
lowering the bar, exactly.
Lowering the bar, basically.
This is
spoiling. That's what I meant to say.
This is what we were talking about too last week. You know, the advent of social media too, because you know we get likes for everything. Nobody's willing to tell each other that, hey, that kind of sucks, and you're frowned upon if you say, yeah, that's not good, or that's derivative, or you didn't, you know, you could have done this better. You know, nobody wants to hear that. They just want to. Can you please just give me my likes? And you know,
or my favorite, the eye of the beholder.
Yeah, because then you can take the argument of that's my art.
That's my art. Yep.
And that's like a knife to the chest.
That you didn't even create nowadays. But that's where it's getting to now. And
Yep.
it's a very scary thing. Man, I've been researching and following some people who've been talking a lot about AI and the kind of future of it and where it leads. And it's scary because no one says anything good. Like the leading professionals, people who are some of the top people in doing a lot of this stuff, I'm not hearing a lot of like, you know, things where people are sounding very happy or you know, excited for what's coming with this stuff. And with what I'm hearing of a lot of this rhetoric is things like AI is going to get to, well, AI is definitely, it seems like the biggest, scariest thing that's going to happen is AI is going to make it possible to privatize the internet in a whole. So all of the internet will be like, right now it's very open source, right? It's kind of free. People can create and do whatever they want. It's why so many people are becoming millionaires off of it and everything else. And it's kind of just free and open to do these different things, whether what you create is successful or not, right? But it's going to get to a point where it's controlled, and you're not going to be able to do whatever you want. And the weird part with that is the way AI is designed and the way that it can hide and manipulate and change and so forth, it will be controlled and you won't even know it.
Yeah, you won't see it. It'll be,
you see what I'm saying?
It'll be invisible.
Meaning that you'll put out your work, you'll do stuff on social media or whatever platform in the future comes and so forth, and you can't figure out why it's not going anywhere. Why no one's like, you could be freaking making the most amazing work. You figured out whatever to combine this and this thing here and this, and you're making the most magnificent stuff ever. But because it doesn't follow whatever agenda or whatever's going on to the powers that be are controlling this stuff, you never get seen. And then some schmuck that's following status quo or what we're going to start seeing more and more in every industry that we're definitely not used to. We've seen a little bit of it, but especially like in our field, it's strange to see it, but it's coming as more and more industry plans, more and more of people being put into these positions for whatever reason, nepotism, whatever, that, and because of AI, because of these different things, it's literally indistinguishable from the pros and from the talent.
Yeah.
And scary.
It's funny because everything you're saying is happening now in small and insidious ways. Like in certain countries, you can't bring up the internet or that you can't bring up particular sites. That's how it starts. In California, last year, I saw a blurb in the paper that you're no longer allowed to sell real fur here. You can't buy a fur coat. You can't do any of that stuff. It's against the law now. And one day I was looking online for a trapper hat for a photo shoot. And I saw this beautiful one. And I prefer fake fur, but this was a beautiful fox fur. And they told me cannot be delivered in your neighborhood. And it's just little things like that. I said, because now it's considered against the law. So I can't even order a hat online to purchase. I'd have to purchase it someplace else and have it sent to me that way. So these things you're talking about are already in play. But it's the little things that we don't think about. I can't get the hat here. So I did it a couple of times on these real fur hats, and then I clicked on a faux fur hat. I could get that. So I hit a friend of mine in San Francisco and said, do me a favor, see if you can order this. Couldn't order it because it's in California.
Yeah, it's getting wild, man. The times are getting weird. How do you feel, especially being out in California and so forth, and how the business is out there and so on? How do you feel about just kind of where the industry is right now? How, people are kind of moving and shaking in it, like kind of what's happening?
When Day and I decided to move to California, it was really a romanticizing thought process. You're thinking the weather's 80 degrees every day. You get to go to the beach and on Christmas and all that stuff. And work is going to be plentiful because it's Hollywood. What we didn't take into consideration is the lay of the land is completely different than when I was in New York. In New York, I shot models. In California, I shoot celebrities. Mm-hmm. In California, in New York, everybody wanted to be Naomi Campbell. Out here, everybody wants to be Kim Kardashian. Mm. And because of that, because people are so hungry to want to be seen, the celebrities out here have them by chokehold that they don't have to pay for anything. Mm. They don't want to have to pay because I have a lot of followers. Your followers don't get me paid.
Right. I've experienced that.
And never will.
And and that's their argument. It's like, girl, you're a billionaire. You can't pay my rate.
Right.
Because you're already shafting us because these kids don't know. You're already shafting us on our rates. Then you don't want to pay for licensing. There's so many things that are happening in the world because they weren't taught. They weren't taught the value of their currency, which are their photos. So, you think you're doing something because, oh, I shot for Kim Kardashian. That's all well and good. You shot an editorial of Kim Kardashian. But I gave her all the photos. And it's like, you do realize that was your currency and you just gave it away. So I had to learn that they have no idea what's going on out here. And since I work in the hair industry, in the beauty industry, in New York, we sold a lifestyle. So when we did photos of hair, we did the photos that how it makes you feel. In California, hair is a commodity. So I'm just going to shoot the hair. But this is what a 22-inch Brazilian weave looks like. They don't care about anything else. In New York, they cared about how that hair made them feel.
Interesting.
So they appreciate, or they admire, let me do that. They admire what we do out here. We meaning day and night. They admire it, but they don't appreciate it. So we walk into situations where you got these girls, with the baby hair and the thick part and all the way down. That's what they want to sell, like a picture on a bag of bundles. And that's not what we did. So we're coming out here saying, oh my God, we're going to take this by storm. Didn't happen because
the market doesn't want that.
That's not what they want. And we had to learn that. They don't care about that you have great studio lighting. They don't care. They want you to shoot in somebody's backyard with a sheet as your backdrop because everybody can do that. Not everybody can do what I do.
Somebody said California is much more about speed than quality. Like everything is just fast. You want to
hear something funny?
And I've experienced that in some cases.
For me, that wasn't the case because to me, they're really lax out here. I picked up one of my first big contracts out here because of the speed that we had. But the speed is different because the speed in New York is a hustle.
Mm-hmm.
The speed out here is just a rush. Because we've done work before, and I'll send it to the client. I can shoot you Monday morning. I can send a proof link to you Monday night, and then I'm sitting there waiting 3 weeks to hear from you. And I'm constantly hitting you up because in New York, I can't wait 3 weeks. So what would happen is after those 3 weeks are up, you know what they do? I need these photos right away. You had it for 3
Right.
That's Hollywood too. So I've experienced that on sets and everything else. The term is you're rushing to wait.
Yeah,
everybody's rushing to wait. It happens a lot.
Wow.
It happens a lot. It's a Hollywood.
I gave you this 3 weeks ago, and then they open it. You send them, and they say I haven't gotten it. I can see by my emails you opened this. And not
somebody opened it.
Not just rush. Now you want to nitpick.
Right, rush and nitpick.
I don't mind you nitpicking whatever you want to fix or whatever, the color grading, the retouching, that's okay. But you had 3 weeks that it wouldn't seem like it had to be rushed. It didn't have to be. And then they want to nickel and dime you. I have some clients out here that want to give me e-checks. It's like, who works with checks?
You've seen the Venn diagram, the fast, good, and was it cheap? You get two. You can't have all three. It sounds like they want all three.
And it's only that there's this new service that's like Uber for photographers.
Oh yeah. What's it called?
It's called Snapper. That's one of them.
Yes. Yep. Snapper. I've seen it.
So what's it? I haven't heard of this.
Yep. Yeah, it's basically you sign up because I have a friend that told me about it, and he said he got a lot of work on it, and in some markets it might make sense, but basically it's just what he said. It's Uber for photographers. So you put yourself out there, and they get clients, and they'll put it up, and you just take the job, and you do the job, and they pay you, based on whatever. I don't know how much they're getting paid. Yeah.
Oh.
Yep. It's a great feature. I'm not going to lie. It's a great feature. It's just not for photographers because they don't give a damn about you.
It's an automated agency, basically.
Yeah, they don't care about the artistry or the quality of the work or any of that. It's just it's another thing. It's about the speed. You know what I mean? Like they'll even Yeah, they'll even edit the stuff for you. Like you just take the pictures and send it to them. They'll take care of everything else.
Rob, let me tell you something about that though. How they get you with that. So the client books you, you can get the raw, not the raw photos, but the unedited photos, or you can have the photos retouched, and it comes out of your money.
Yep. You got it.
But catch this, they turn around and charge the client to have the photos retouched as well.
That's awesome.
So that's twice on that photo.
I'm a little mad I didn't think of that.
And once the photos leave you, you don't see them. So
Yeah, you don't know.
what the retouch looks like.
Yep, it's not part of your portfolio. It's
Or they send a shit to India.
Yeah,
right.
For $5 call it $2 holler. Yeah.
Yep.
But you just pay for that. And I asked him one time, I said, why would I have to pay you to do the retouch that I can do and I lose money? Let me do the retouch. But what happens is they want you to send the whole photo shoot. You send them the entire photo shoot. So I don't know what the hell they're doing with the retouch after leave you. So if you did
with all those pictures,
if you did 150 photos, they're gonna retouch 150 photos.
Yeesh.
That's wild.
Yeesh. But something I'm sure a lot of
you make $70 an hour maybe?
Yeah. I'm sure a lot of photographers take that option because they don't want to retouch. You know, the number of photographers that don't know how to retouch and don't want to retouch. Yeah, that's not really attractive.
Let alone just everybody struggling. Not everybody, but a lot of people are struggling to get clients.
Yeah,
in period. So
yeah,
anything that looks like a safe haven to get clients and more money in this field, people.
But they also want to do that with commercial work. They will contact you and say, I want you to shoot my campaign.
Yeah.
So when you ask about licensing, we don't do licensing. So you want me to shoot a campaign for this client,
and you getting,
and I'm bringing home $70 an hour. That's it.
And I know you're charging $30,000.
You're getting professional work.
I'm a little mad I didn't come up with it. For real. I'm already hearing billion. That's all to say. It's $1 billion industry, bro.
They're out of Australia.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Out of Australia, yes.
Yeah, they've approached me, and I've considered it, but I never did it. I get emails from them every now and again. Like I sent them my portfolio, and they were like, "Yeah, you could." And I've considered it, but I've never done it. I haven't pulled the trigger on it because it's like,
I have to say I'm late to the party. I haven't.
Yes. I mean, at the end of the day, like there's other things like Thumbtack where you could go to get clients and stuff like that. It's all kind of similar. And if you're in a spot where you just don't have a lot of work, I mean, I guess it makes sense. It's better than nothing.
Or if you need money, right? It comes in handy,
right?
And it comes in handy when you're a young photographer learning.
That too. You could get a lot of work doing it, a lot of experience quickly. Yeah.
You're getting hustle too.
You are.
Seriously awesome. That's interesting though. That's very interesting. Man, I'm getting mad at come up with some of this stuff. I really am. From peer space to everything else. It's like brainy to stuff.
So Dallas, tell me about your experience with getting mentors, finding mentors, and working with mentors. Like what's your experience been on that side? Because you said you've had some really good ones over the years.
First of all, we have to establish what a mentor really is, because lots of times when people are talking about mentors, they're talking about teachers. A mentor is not a teacher. Teaching is part of the mentorship, but it's developing you as an artist. Teachers teach photography. Teachers build photographers. Mentors build artists. And there's a difference between the two. It's learning how to move within the world. It's just photography is the catalyst, if that makes any sense. And I was hungry, and I really wanted to do this. And I thought that if I went to people that looked like me, it would happen. That wasn't the case, because we live in this world of, I don't want you to take anything away from me. Because if I teach you, you may steal my work.
Right.
When I started approaching people, I first started as an intern or an assistant, and mentorship blossoms organically. You don't just say, I want you to be my mentor, and you become a mentor. It's a relationship that blossoms organically to that point before you realize I'm 3 years in a hold, you're my mentor. That's how mentorship really goes. And I approach people, and when you say, I want you to be my mentor, you don't usually get a reply back if you do it the right way. But if you become an intern, if you become an apprentice, if you become an assistant, that's where the magic lies. And that's when they'll let you in the door in order to learn how to be a mentee. Because it's more, because you learn from your mentees as well as being a mentor. You both learn. And when it's done successfully, you both get something out of it.
Highly agree. I've had the pleasure of mentoring now several guys and gals that have kind of come up, have either pretty much they've all at some point worked for me. It's usually started either internship kind of deal, or them kind of bugging me, running up to me. I want to work with you. I want to work with you. Just let me show up. So on and so forth. Or even necessarily friend, person, whoever, referring and going, hey man, can you show them the ropes? Let them come on and help you a little bit, set whatever, so forth. And I think the biggest part that's especially young people now, young people now is a whole nother story, especially with internships, because I've seen so many young people come now and treat an internship like damn near like they're interviewing you. And they're sitting there like, I'm not impressed. Literally, like this is all we're working on. We're shooting a bracelet or whatever. Yeah, I mean, and it's like that they're expecting so grandioso, and I think that's another problem with this generation because of social media and all this other stuff. It's like everything has to be like damn near a superstar for them to be impressed, and like everything has to be celebrity to be impressed. And kind of going back off a little bit with you were saying earlier, Dallas. I see it happen with these young kids and where these celebrities get over on them and all this other stuff. I literally just had this happen with a young kid. And it's funny. I called him today to check on him. And he is funny. He finally took my advice and so forth, where he has a problem. And I've seen this with several young guys where they'll tell me about some celebrity or some person they're shooting with, or this thing going on here. Or I just met these people and that people at this party, and I'm just sitting there like, bro, is that going to put money in your pocket? Is that going to lead to this or that? I got that they told you the world, but what are they really backing it up on? What can you put in writing? What are they going to sign? What are you going to? And they just get so caught up in it. And I'm like, and I get it. You're young. You want celebrity. You want the fame. You want all these kinds of things. But, they just have so much to learn with it, man. And, it's been a pleasure. And I've gotten to watch a couple young guys come up and do really well. And they're growing and they're becoming, they're honing into their own, so to speak, right? Damn, this generation's hard-headed. They're so hard.
The funny thing about it is, it's not the generation that's really hard-headed. It's the young photographer. When I use the term young photographer, I mean people who are early in photography.
Yeah.
I had a mentee one time who took a photograph of a has-been basketball player. It was a really beautiful shot, and Reebok reached out to her. They really liked the photo. So it was the, for lack of a better word, the representation of the has-been athlete. She hits me up, oh my God, they want my photo, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, who wants your photo? Reebok wants my photo. They want to put it on the box. Oh my God, it's amazing, it's amazing. I'm like, whoa. So then I said, how much are they going to spend on licensing? So she calls me back. She said, I don't have any money for licensing. Stop the car. Yes, they do. Reebok is a multi-billion-dollar global entity. They have the money. So they told me they don't. I'm like, trust me, they do. They need an answer right away. No, they don't. She turned around and said, you know what? You're just holding me back. So you know what I did? I said, okay. So I said, what So I said, let's talk about your negotiation now. What do you want out of this negotiation? She said, I want to shoot him again and I want credit. I said, that's what you want? She said, yes. I said, well, if you do not give up the rights to the photo. If you want them to use it, that's on you. I can't decide this for you. I said, but do not give up the rights to your photo. So she gets off the phone and she makes the deal and she's patting herself on the back. I'm proud. Now this is a damn near 50-year-old woman. So let's keep that in mind. She's not a young kid. So she comes back and she was talking to the PR department for Reebok. And he happened to ask her, so what did you negotiate for your marketing? She said, they told me they didn't have any money. He burst out laughing. They said they had a minimum of $70,000 just to license your photo for the first run. $70,000. So in a matter of 5 minutes, because you're so busy rushing and you're so busy wanting to get out there, you lost $70,000. You lost a $70,000 deal. And if you would have let me negotiate your deal, you would have had more than $70,000. But you wanted to do it your way. So I hope you got the lesson.
Yeah.
Oh man, how would you recommend somebody who's smacked with that? Because sometimes that happens to people. Like, it'll be somebody who's not expecting it. They'll get approached and they have absolutely no experience with negotiation or being in that situation. What should they do with that situation when you've never been approached?
Find somebody who knows the business. And not just find somebody who knows the business, listen to them. Because I guarantee you, when it was going down, and I guarantee you, the guy making the deal was like, oh, we got this photographer. She don't know no better. She'll give you the photo for free. And I bet they got the $70,000. That's what really went down. So they're trying to rush her to make a deal really quickly. She was in panic mode. I'm like, you don't have to trust me. They want what you got. They have to play with you. They're not going to press tomorrow and start pressing this issue, start pressing this photograph on these boxes because they wanted the photo on the box. They're not doing that tomorrow. You have time. Learn how to play the game, but that's what it is. But I find that I cut back on my mentoring because I got tired of fighting my mentees. I got tired of fighting to make them better. So once I get pushback, I go, okay, I can't, I'm not going to work with you. And it's not pushback like, listen to me. That's not necessarily the case. The case is, I'm telling you what's going on and how the business is running. You're pretty much telling me, fuck you. Oh, excuse me. You're pretty much telling me, F
you're fine. We're past an hour.
And you're telling me, F you. And it's like, every time I try to give you a lesson, you want to fight me. I have the information. I have the knowledge. I'm trying to give it to you. And you keep asking everybody else. Another thing, you keep asking so many people. You're going to get so many different lessons. So you're going to have to find one person that you can really listen to that you trust. Because I'm getting nothing out of this unless I broker the deal. And if I broker the deal, I'm going to put that in the money. You don't have to pay an extra fee. I'm going to make them pay for it. I can broker your deals for you. I had one guy who he was dealing with a hair company in Chicago. And he told me what the terms was. And I said, how much? And I asked him, how much do you want? He said, $2,500. I'm like, that job is $25,000. So do you want me to broker the deal for you? Didn't believe me. I'm like, I can get you $25,000 for this job. Just shut up and listen. I can get you this. So when you start fighting me, I go, okay, if you want to do it your way, I have to step back. Because you're not going to drive me crazy.
Just to get you money.
And of course, you have these kids who think you want to take things from them. I'm like, let me see the deal. I can tell you by the note. Let me read the deal. That's the only way I can help you. But you're thinking I'm going to swoop in there and try to take your job. So you're hanging out with the wrong people that you can't trust me. And I'm supposed to be your mentor. And you can't trust me to read a contract or a deal that you're trying to, negotiate because you're worried about me sweeping and taking a job. I don't want your job. It wasn't meant for me. Because if I took that job, karma's going to get me every single time.
Highly agree. Yeah, I like I said, I was through something very similar. Two young guys, well, one that I've known for a long time, and I've I've tried to mentor for the longest. But he is so like, all over the place as far as doing this. It's like squirrel, squirrel, squirrel. Teaches always, and he's a very, very talented kid. I mean, very talented, like musician, pick up like that. Started getting into visual stuff, so forth. Started to pick it up like that. Like anything artistic, this kid could just latch on. He comes from a bit of a famous family. His father's a real famous bass player and all this other stuff. And anyway, point is that they got into some kind of deal with the record label to do industry work for them and basically work for the label and so forth and create content. So I'm like, all right, what is the label charging you? And so on and so forth. And what are they doing? They brought me the amount and I was like, oh, hell no. It's like, no. I was like, that is way too low. I said, all right, y'all, first of all, I was like, before we even get into, I was like, this is what you guys got to start understanding. And kind of answer your point, Rob, a little bit of kind of what a person can do to start. Start itemizing and writing down everything that you do and that you're going to have to do for whatever job it is that you're working in doing for these contracts or anything that a person's promising you or so forth. Really start breaking it down. I realized how many photographers, they really don't have a structured system in how things are itemized, how things are broken down, so forth. Because once I started doing that with them, I was like, look at how much you guys are going to have to do. And the fact that you didn't put any kind of limit or a certain amount towards how much you're going to do and what's that going to end with and how's it going to lead in deliverables and everything else. I said, they got y'all working like a slave for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we didn't even see that because you were so hyped about names.
You were so
hyped about celebrity. I was like, let me ask you a question. How many celebrities do y'all know from the past that aren't relevant now? Y'all into hip hop and rap and all that kind of stuff, these kids these days. I said, how many rappers do you know from 10 years ago that ain't relevant now? So how much does celebrity really matter? It doesn't. What matters is you, your job, and what you build in. Because they don't care about you. You know what I mean?
Celebrity can get you and how long you can hold on to that.
Exactly.
Keep you like photographer in the pocket. Yo, Dallas, what you doing right now? I'm at this party. Come take some photos. I'm not that dude. And you don't want to even pay for gas.
Hey, other than that,
it was a reality check moving to California. It was a reality check moving to Los Angeles.
Yeah, man. I've been out in Cali shooting mainly music videos. I used to do a lot of music video stuff out there and a few films and small things. And one thing that always struck me interesting with Cali was New York and East Coast, the vibe and the feel of how people operate, so forth, is a very kind of, is he with you? Is she with you? Are y'all like you kind of got to be vouched it to how East Coast works a little bit, right? On a little bit of everything in scale, how people communicate, respond, act, and so forth. Out there is different. Out there was real like, oh yeah, come, let's work on this, let's look on this. And while you're working, it's like, and a whole whatever, and you're basically getting used. And it's a very different thing. Not to say you don't get used on the East Coast too, but the East Coast is very like, you're not even getting it unless you're vouched by with such and such. Where out there, it's very like, no, you can come, sure, yeah, and then you get screwed over.
And most often, they don't even have the talent. In New York, you got to have the talent. California, they do a lot of winging it. They was on a video. They was on a music video thing one day. A friend of his was doing a video, and the guy asked Day, "Can you come hang out at this video shoot, at this music video?" They found a parking lot, and they proceeded to just shoot a video. No rhyme, no visa, and a lot of them move that way. So what happens is we plan everything. So we're asking questions like, what do you need? What are we shooting? What should I bring? Because we're going to bring the equipment. Oh, I don't know. Just bring a bunch of stuff. It's like,
I mean, granted, that kind of happens now, even over here. That's a little bit of, I think, a generational thing, and just what music videos.
Because these kids be
But
music videos in particular, yeah, they can be.
But one thing I noticed different with California, one of the big things I love about California, and it's such a shame that the state is going basically to shit and where it is now. Because like, I love California. I would have loved to move out there and everything else, but between how expensive it is, the way certain stuff is happening now, so forth, it just didn't make dollars and cents for me at the time, and still technically now to this day. But and then now it's you know, the mass exodus, everybody's leaving, and California is a mess. But I love how, bro, there's nothing like quite California. Like kind of anywhere in the world. I've shot all over. Nothing exactly like California, like where you can just drive in, you know, half an hour you're on the beach, an hour you're in the desert, another hour you're up in the woods and whatever. Like it really isn't nothing like it.
Tar pits.
It's a look and a feel that you can achieve in California with photos that you kind of can't almost nowhere else. Or at least you would have to travel, you know, get on a plane and go somewhere else to achieve something that you could achieve in California in a quick drive. And that part is what makes California kind of magical, man. But once you get involved with the people, it can get interesting, especially being from the East Coast.
I gotta be quiet sometimes because I can come across really aggressive in California. When I'm not being aggressive, I'm just they're not used to being straightforward.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a thing out there. I experienced that. It's very passive aggressive.
It's the social media thing. It's the, you know, it's the same thing as likes.
I don't think it's that. Because I experienced it even before social media was like really big and all that when I was out there back in the day.
Yeah, it's a California.
It's a Cali thing.
Really?
I think it's also like the Hollywood thing. I think a lot of it is because everybody is so, like, for us, even in New York, right? But it's all, when you go to New York, it's all walks of life as far as industry and business, right? So you could be in New York and you're on one side having a drink at a bar and you're meeting some financial specialist, whatever, that's a multimillionaire on Wall Street. And then you go to another side, whatever, and you meet an artist. You go somewhere else and you meet a musician and so forth. Cool. You know, but everybody's kind of still hustle and bustle. There's still a working class and everything else and kind of how New York operates. Cali, especially if you're in LA in certain parts, everybody is trying to get into Hollywood. Everybody is trying to be some successful kind of celebrity or, you know, artists or whatever it is. Like there's so much weird competition out there. So it's like, you never know who you're going to piss off or whatever that can hurt you or so forth. So everybody just develops this very passive aggressive, fake smile. Hi, yeah. You know exactly what I'm talking about now. Like I've experienced that. Like I remember one time he was in a bar. Where were we? We were at some like famous restaurant bar spot, and we bumped into this guy, and we could tell the guy was pissed, but like he didn't want to act on it. And I think we were drunk and whatever and so forth. So we're, you know, we East Coast from Philly, you know what I mean? So we like, bro, you know what I mean? Like we about to start with him, and he just constantly was doing. I'd never seen it before. I'd never seen someone try so hard to try and get us to like him. That obviously it's like you're about to get your ass kicked. Like we about to beat your ass, and like, you know, somebody on the East Coast, with even if they trying to digress the situation, they still be, you know, all right. If I'm going to fight, I'm going to fight. Where there it was like, no, we can be friends. I could bartender, and we were like, it's like I just never experienced nothing like that before. And my man was like, yeah, so weird.
Welcome to LA.
Then the gang culture, that all.
Oh, geez.
You don't realize how real it is until you get out there.
Oh, dude, that's one of the most uncomfortable situations I've been in, is being on the beach, and I just had my camera out, and you know, in California they have these walls that are on the beach, and people will be spray painting on them, and like we were watching people spray paint, and I was kind of taking pictures, and I just got this vibe like, you're not supposed to be doing this. I don't like that you're doing this, and if you don't stop doing this, something bad's gonna happen to you. And I'm like, yeah, let's go, because it nobody said anything to me. Nobody. It was just a vibe that I felt that was like, bro, this is not where I'm supposed to be, and I'm doing something wrong right now. I don't know what it is, but I need to stop, and I'm out of here. I was like, I told I was like, I grabbed my wife, her cousin. I was like, let's go. We got to go.
Yeah, I've experienced that, especially back. It's changed now. I feel a little bit. It's a little bit different now, but back in the day, especially, man. We from Philly, so we wear like Philly caps and so forth, the Ren, Phillies, all that kind of stuff. And we out there, we in the wrong spot. And bro, I'll never forget. We'll pull it up, and seriously, like straight out of the movie, was like, "What set you claim?" We were like, "What?" I was like, "We're filmmakers. We're working on something we talk about, bro." And dude just kept getting real hype. He's like, "What set you claim?" We like, "Nigga, we working. What is you talking about?" Blah blah blah. And then he got he went back to his car, pulled out a gun, came back, and was like, "What's that?" And we was like, "Whoa!" We like, "Bro, we're Philly. We don't know what you're talking about. We still don't know what's going on." So forth. Like it's different, man.
I had a dude do that to me in Chicago once. I was like, dude looked at me. He was like, "You don't even know what I'm talking about, do you?" I was like, "Nah." I was lucky that I looked lost enough that the dude was like, "You don't even know what I'm talking about." Yeah.
That's crazy.
So Dallas, let me ask, man, and we'll get close to wrapping this up. So, what do you think, and like, what would you tell a young person right now, or just a beginning budding photographer right now in this climate and the way things are right now, if somebody was getting started and they wanted to go down that route of, let's say, going to California, shooting celebrities or getting into that vibe and business and everything else, of course, find a mentor and all that, but what would be a good place to start for someone? So like they just flew out, touched down in California, don't know can of paint from nothing. What do they do? What should they do?
In California, it's about networking. It's about networking and ass kissing. That's a big, big part of the business out here. It's not about your talent. If you got the talent, that's icing on the cake. I would never tell them to come out here to do that. It's not as easy. Not if they're trying to make a career and make money. See, there's a difference between making money and being famous. If you want to be famous, you can get all of that out here, but you won't necessarily make the money. So I would never tell a new budding photographer to come here in order to get into the celebrity world. It's not worth it. What happens is the best way to get situated in this world is to become a personal photographer to a star. Meaning I can become Janet Jackson's personal photographer, or I can become Mary J. Blige's personal photographer. And how you get to those people are going through the PR firms and the public relation firms and their publicists, and doing a lot of ass kissing and becoming friends with them. You don't need to become friends with the stars. You need to become friends with the people who control the stars. And once they like you, if you can get past that gatekeeper, and once they like you, sky's the limit. Because I know a bunch of photographers who work for these celebrities, they fly them around the world, no matter where they go. The red carpet, I need you to shoot my family for the day. I need a day in the life of, let's say, Mary J. Blige. That's how you get in the door out here.
Very good advice. Very good advice.
That's the way it's done. I'm too old for that now.
I feel you on that one.
I'm 60 years old. That ship is sailed.
So Dallas, what's kind of new for you? What's going on now? What are some of the things that's happened with you in your career now?
Well, things were bad when we had COVID out here, and a lot of work dried up for us because everything that we done relied on the unions, the strikes, and stuff like that. We still haven't come out of that yet.
Yeah.
So That's where we are right now. So things are finally dusting off that we're actually now treading water with regards to COVID. COVID was devastating for us out here. And now we're waiting for all the dust to settle with the movie industry so we can really get back out there, because that's where our money's being made. We do the actors headshots. That's where a lot of our stuff is made. We do the celebrity stuff that wasn't really happening. So that's what we're doing right now. Getting back in New York, because we have to go to, Day and I have to go to New York to cleanse our palate. Because the things that we do just don't happen here. You make California sound magical. It's not magical for us. I need to be shooting on a dirty, gritty New York City street with some fashion people. We need to do the guerrilla style where we have a complete production and we're shooting on Houston and we're shooting in Soho and the cops are about to get us. That's what we do. To get those shots. The talent is different out here because it's all about the celebrity, where we're making a celebrity happy. Where in New York, we're all as a collective, we're trying to get the best photos we possibly can. So the artistry is different, the feeling is different, styling. Out here, there's no real stylists. They're shoppers and dressers. So they're always getting gowns for red carpet events and stuff like that. That's big out here. In New York, they're pulling together clothes so we can do a fashion shoot. So it's a different world. It's a different beast that we had to get used to. So many times somebody tell us they're stylists and we go to their pages and they have red carpet shots and everybody's on a step and repeat. That's not what we're looking for. Now, everybody's doing a drop curl and I'm looking for editorial hairstyle. Or everybody's doing influencer makeup.
Yeah.
So I had to learn to eat the inside of my cheek without speaking, because I'm going to say something that's going to be insulting. And I don't mean to be insulting, it's just this isn't our world in that aspect. So we had to make some really hard and fast changes in our life. Like, for example, even studio spacing. Nobody cares about studios out here. You can shoot 90% of the time outside. Yeah. That's why you always see those sunlit photos. They don't need studio work. Once that weather hits October, November, East Coast, we're going indoors. It's too damn cold to be shooting outside. December.
I'm sorry. I will say though, I am a little frustrated sometimes with New York, Philly, this area, so forth, tri-state, I guess you could say, and all that a little bit with the studios. I guess some of that's just because New York's getting so crazy with the rent and all the other stuff and how that's gotten fuckers and so forth. One thing that did amaze me when I was out in Cali last time, that couple times that I was out there shooting a couple videos, and I guess it's more for the video Hollywood industry, but I've seen plenty of photographers and stuff using it too, is there's so many themed studios and setups and everything everywhere where there's none of that in New York for the most part.
None of it here in Pittsburgh.
LA.
They're everywhere. That shocked me. I was like, we went over here space and some other stuff and like things we were just setting on putting together for some of the shoots we were doing out there. And I was like, okay, this is endless. It's like, this is wild. Like, I'm talking about, like, they had a house set up that looked like the Star Trek Enterprise. They had I'm not joking. They had jail cells set up. You could go out in the desert. They had a whole cowboy set and cheap, like $50 an hour. Like it's crazy. I was like, whoa. I was like, this is different. This is very different.
And when you don't know, you're excited. So I'm going to shoot this thing. And then you start looking, somebody say, oh, you shot at so-and-so. It's like,
that happened too.
That happened too. It's like, but no.
But I wish New York would be a little bit better with that. But, it's a whole different beast out there because
freaking real estate in New York is ridiculous. I just saw, I was just looking at Instagram today. Somebody was looking at a room for $1,200 a month. And it had no kitchen, no bathroom. It was just a box. And it wasn't very big. It was smaller than this office. And that's it.
One of my main mentees, has been in New York for the last like 3 years. He's like a little brother to me. And, you know, he asked me, you know, should I go out there? So far, I was like, you know what? Everybody should get their feet wet and learn the grind that is New York. So yes, I think you should. And so forth. And he did. He got better. He got better in a lot of ways. I'm proud of him for that. But it got to the point, man, like I'm helping him move back next week. And I had to talk with him. And I was like, I said, bro, New York is not what it used to be.
No,
it's just not. You know, it is what it is, man. Like the industries kind of went down a little bit there. Nobody can live there easily anymore and everything else. I'm like, it's just not the mecca for fashion and everything it used to be. It's still some there. Thank God you're in Philly. You're close enough. You can still drive down there when you need to. But I'm like, living there just don't make sense, man. It doesn't. I was like, real talk. Even if I was, I mean, I do pretty well for myself and everything else. But I'm like, even if I became multi-millionaire, I would not live in New York.
I can't afford to move back. It doesn't make sense.
It's like, yeah.
Is it worse in New York or LA?
It's worse in New York because at least $1,200 out here, if we're using that number, will get you a little bit more space than it would in New York.
Not a lot, but at least
Not a lot, but no. Well, think about it. Out here, we're not living on top of each other.
That's true.
Unless
That's
you're
true.
in downtown LA, which is really awful. But because LA is vast. You don't realize how vast it is until you live here.
Yeah.
you don't realize how big California is until you out there.
Right.
Yeah. California is big.
Texas. You do not
Yeah, they're
realize
big.
how big they are until you out there. And it's like, you know, because I remember like, for instance, the first time we were out there, we stayed in Long Beach. And I was like, oh, you know, Long Beach, you always hear about Long Beach, Snoop Dogg, whatever. And then I'm thinking it's close to LA to the point of like, oh, we go like 30 minutes away, 20 minutes or something, bro. It was an hour and a half. Drive from Long Beach to LA.
And
I was like, what?
It's when they talk about travel in LA, it's not when they talk about traffic in LA, you're an hour and a half in traffic, not an hour and a half in moving.
Yep.
So the ride will take the ride will be 20 minutes, but you're gonna sit an hour in traffic.
And you got paid to get in the fast lane there.
Depending on what time you go. Because one time we had a photo shoot and the ride was 28 minutes. We left our apartment, put equipment in the car. So it took us the elevator, parking lot. By the time we got to the car, that 28 minutes went to an hour and a half.
Jeez.
I've experienced it.
I always wanted to know why every time anybody wanted to have a meeting, they want to have a meeting around 1 o'clock in the afternoon or 12 in the afternoon. I'm like, yo, usually where I'm from, we're done at that time. Don't schedule anything at 8 o'clock. Because if you schedule something at 8 o'clock, you're going to have to leave your house at 6.
You'll be stuck in rundown forever.
And coming home is the same way. So all of that is calculated in our travel. Because it's going to be, we have an hour photo shoot, but it's going to be 3 hours of travel. You're going to be billed for 4 hours.
Yeah, what?
That's got to be stupid. Like,
Well,
I know gas is really expensive out there, but just burning it, sitting there burning.
Hold up. This what really shocked me when I got out there, especially when you're anywhere near LA and so forth and go anywhere away, right? You don't really, they call it a valley for a reason. You don't realize how much of a valley it really is.
And I live in
So you're on that highway and literally the road starts going. You start seeing the cars go up. You like, wait a minute. And you're in a little cheap car. Bro, I remember having my pedal all the way down. The car got nothing. And it's hot as I don't know what outside. So the air conditioners blast, everything else. And I'm like, I don't think we're going to make it, bro. We're going to run out of gas. It's different, man.
And the funny thing about it is, in New York and the East Coast, we were barbaric. We would cut through the mountain. We would drill holes through the mountain.
Yeah.
In California,
they
don't want to mess with the nature. So they make you go around stuff and up and over stuff, like you were saying.
Yep.
But in where we're on the East Coast, we're not going to go to that. We're just going to blast holes through all of this.
Right. Oh yeah. In Pittsburgh, we got tunnels and bridges, and yeah. Yep.
Well, I mean, Grant, I will say New York though, like a lot of people aren't prepared for New York sometimes too. Because like I remember like when I first my earlier days in New York, like we're gonna go, oh yeah, like we're shooting in Manhattan, and then we're gonna skate over to like the Bronx or Long Island or something like that. Like, no, you're not. You're like, bro, that's a 2-hour drive. I'm like, what? How about a 2-hour drive? Like, you'll see. You see him forever.
Same here. They do the same thing here. We want to shoot at the beach. After the beach, we want to go to the desert. After the desert, it's like, no, you get the beach or the desert.
Exactly.
We get one or the other.
Exactly. I remember we drove out the Joshua Tree to do a shoot and so forth, and we didn't realize how far it was, man. And we put in for the GPS and everything, and it was like an hour some change scheduled it. We're like, all right. Then traffic, everything else, it took so long to get out there. It took like 4 hours to get out there.
Jeez. That sounds lovely.
And it was a heat like I could never explain. Like the car temperature when we stepped outside was like 110. Oh no, it was more than that. It was like 124 or something like that. We're like, what is going on? It's like, you in the desert, bro.
Said that is definitely insane.
But hey, Dallas, man, we appreciate it so much, bro. You taking the time.
I'm sorry we didn't talk much about photography. Forgive me.
Hey, we got
it. You know what? I will ask one other question before we end it, because Rob was talking about it and so forth, that you have been teaching courses, you have a book and different things like that and so forth. So if you want to kind of talk a little bit about that and kind of where that's at and so forth.
My company's called Light is Light, and we teach professional studio lighting. Nice. I have an ebook called Light is Light, and in the ebook we discuss commercial fashion, editorial fashion, commercial beauty, editorial beauty, portraiture, as well as body lighting. What makes the book really invaluable is my book is $100, which is pretty expensive for an ebook. But what happens is it gives you direct access to me with any and all questions, because our relationship doesn't stop at the shopping cart. That's where our relationship actually begins.
Yep.
So if there's any questions, the book covers all these things, and there's lighting diagrams and things of that nature. If there's any questions, you can call me up and say, Dallas, I'm trying something and it's not working. And we can fix it on the spot. And what makes that so funny, John, is nobody calls.
Oh, wow.
So to have these photo shoots that they're struggling in, and then they call me up, and I'm like, why didn't you just call me? Well, I didn't want to bother you. That's what you paid for. You could have got anybody's ebook, but that's what you paid for. You paid so you can call me, and I can answer your questions, and we can fix something on the spot, because you can't fix it after the fact. I'm not a guy that says, let's fix it in post. I'm not that dude. Let's fix it as you're shooting it.
Yeah,
that's it.
And Dallas is really good, with advice. I've reached out to him before for advice, and it was really helpful for me. So yeah, definitely. And I have his book, and it's the information in there is top notch, man. There's very few photographers where I can't look at their pictures and understand the lighting, like break it down myself. I don't understand a lot of the lighting without like reading the stuff that he's written about it. It's not simple. So, yeah. But like that picture right there, the last one, wish I could probably go back to it. Hold on. That where was it? This one. Right there. That right there. I didn't understand this. And I think this one's in the book. I think this specific one is in the book.
It's in the book.
So, yeah. Yep.
But the thing about it is this: if you follow the diagram to the letter, you'll get that photo.
Yeah.
Because I've had people who aren't photographers. I put them through the paces, and if they can get it, a photographer can get it. So that's what I did, like makeup artists and stuff like that. I'm like, let's set this up, because they want to do beauty work, so I give them a beauty diagram. And once they figure it out, it's like, oh my God, just follow the diagrams. You can get anything you want. But what I try to tell people is, my book is a blueprint for your artistry. Take this photo or take this lighting and then make it yours. I'm just giving you the blueprint in order to make it happen. You don't have to copy. And so many times people bought the book to copy the photos. I'm like, that's a disservice to you. Do not copy the photos. Just apply these techniques to your artistry.
Well, I know what my next investment is.
The good book. It really is.
Yeah, and it's something I think I've said almost every time that we've done these interviews and we talked to whoever. Even if it goes to photographers that know your craft and you guys out there that have been doing this for years and follow us because you know us, network and everything else and so forth. Please keep learning. Please keep trying new things. Please keep buying books and new stuff. I make it an effort every year. I take like at least a month, sometimes 2, sometimes 3 if I got the time. And I will just start applying new things. I will go to other photographers I know, reach out, network, whatever, and I will try and learn from them. I will ask questions. I will go, bro, let me just sit through one of your editing sessions. Let me just sit through and let me come to one of your shoots and so forth. Hey, man, I haven't been to your studio since you opened the new one. You know what? Let me come through and just check out a shoot, man. And I just try and learn. And what I've found out is I don't care how much you know. I don't care how good of a photographer you are. You will be stunned on just little tips and tricks and things that people are doing that you just didn't think of. Right?
Because their brain is different than yours.
It's funny when
a little twist people put on stuff. I'm sorry.
When Annie Leibovitz did her masterclass, people were really excited. And then they watched her masterclass and was pissed off because they thought they were going to get these tips and tricks. Like she's going to tell you, set your camera for this, put your light here, and you're going to get this. That wasn't what she taught. There was little things she was saying within her talking that made me go, gotcha, bitch. But people wanted to see, that's what's wrong with our people today. They just want quick fix, but they don't want to think about anything. And she said a couple of things in her masterclass, just talking. I went, I'm going to try that tomorrow. And it worked. So whenever anyone tells me they hated her masterclass, I knew exactly what they were trying to achieve. They wanted to achieve whatever she does, but they wanted a formula. And art has no formula.
It's interesting. Like her, Sue Bryce, there's a lot of photographers, because I don't think she's really a technician when it comes to her shooting. Like
not at all.
Settings and stuff like that. She just spins the knobs until she gets something she likes. And then she goes. And you'd be surprised how many very, very, very good photographers don't know what they're doing with their cameras sometimes.
No, they
have no idea. And she's one of them. But she still phenomenal work because she's an artist. It's not.
I am not a technical photographer. And it's like, and the funny thing about it is I'm not a technical photographer. I'm an emotional photographer. I just go about achieving what I'm trying to achieve technically, because you need the technology to know if it happens. So if you come to me and whenever I walk into a photo shoot, the first thing I say to myself, what emotion am I trying to achieve? And then the next question is, do I want to achieve it with hard light or soft light? And then I say to myself, what modifier do I want to use to create the hard light or soft light? And I do that with every single photo shoot. And then at that point, the technology part comes in. I want to shoot this at f8. I want to use grid and all that stuff. Then that stuff comes into play. But walking in the door is completely artistry. It's completely emotions.
Interesting. Because I'm a technician like that. It's settings and stuff like that.
I've been trying to beat that out of you for years.
I'm a technician, and it's bad. Like I feel like I need to do more, like on the emotional feeling side. So
that's it, because the technical part's going to be there. You already got that. You already know the knobs. You already know the settings. You already got that part. Work on the emotion part now.
Yeah,
work on connecting with the subject.
Yeah,
I think that
I'll take the first shot and then I'll show it to them. I said, "This is the energy we're going for. This is the feeling we're going for." And then because everything else is already set.
Yeah, I think that's something I need to work on a little bit more too. I would say I'm more of a theme story, I guess you could say. I come from such a film background. For me, everything's about, I design everything beforehand of what this theme, look, story, whatever it's going to be, and then kind of figure out the rest once I get there. That's right. Like I put the main kind of treatment together of how something's going to flow. And then after that, it's, we get there and just start figuring it out. It's the few things we needed to bring, the few things we had to put together or whatever. And then the rest, is going to be happy mistakes. We kind of go from there. And because that's kind of how it is when you're on a set and so forth. Like nothing goes according to plan.
Ever.
You plan it out. Everything goes wrong, and then you figure it out from there. And that's kind of just how I've always operated, And I've experienced that sometimes teaching people, and like I'll go, yeah. So you just want your settings between somewhere around here and probably somewhere around there, and then after that, let's go.
You can do it.
What? Wait a minute. This other guy told me it needs to be exactly this. Not. I was like, yeah, not really. Keep going, and they're just looking at me like, what the fuck?
The biggest lesson I have to do when I work with people is deprogramming them and trying to start with a clean slate, because they get so much information, and once you're told the same thing over and over and over again, it becomes law, and they get locked into that law. And it's like, you have to break that, because if I can't break that, we can't move forward. So if I tell you to do so-and-so, so what I learned so-and-so, I'm like, let it go. Because we'll get what you want, but you have to let that go and try new and different things.
And you're seeing it a lot, I feel, nowadays with a lot of photographers, because they're all going on YouTube and whatever and taking these tutorials and learning. And you're seeing people who are pulling off great shots, and they're doing some things that are technical and great. But I see this theme happening with a lot of photographers where they're shooting the same thing over and over and over and over again. I got a couple of photographers I know now, like really talented guys. They got a style that's kind of all their own and so forth. And I remember one I reached out to once. I said, hey, dude, I love what you're doing. I love this kind of like peachy amber look. You got this stuff and the way you're playing with it and the lighting. I said, but dude, you're shooting the same thing over and over and over again. I'm like, when you gonna switch it up? And he got so pissed at me and didn't want to speak to me again and all this other stuff. And I was like, whoa, bro. I was like, I wasn't trying to be disrespectful, man. I was just like, I wanted to see more. Like what are you trying to help? I was like, I just want to see more. Like, you're really talented, but you're shooting same shit. Like,
we have to
be stroked.
If they don't ask you, don't offer the information.
Yeah.
That's one of the hardest lessons I had to learn. Where you think you're helping somebody, but as far as they're concerned, you're insulting them. So it comes to a point, like somebody will talk about something, and I was always eager to help, and then I had to stop myself and go, are you asking me for my help? Are you asking me for information? Because right now I'm not going to offer it anymore. I'd rather stay your friend and let you be stuck than for me to try to help you and I lose your friendship.
Yeah. Because sometimes it's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
It's the same thing I was saying before. Like, do you want to be stroked or do you want to be critiqued? And most people do not want to be critiqued. They want to be stroked. Just they want to feel good about what they're doing. It's tough.
But in the same sentence, they'll go, all my stuff is looking the same.
They see the problem. They see the problem, but they don't want to hear it from somebody else. It's tough. Like, every now and again, I mean, even me, like, I can't say that I'm perfect at accepting critique, but, if you find somebody who's really good and willing to give you that critique, you should take it, because it'll make you better. It really will. It really will.
I got thick skin, man. I don't care. I always ask.
That's East Coast.
Yeah.
That, and also, I mean, it's every artist, I guess, to an extent does it. I hate all my work. So.
Yeah.
I hate everything I do. So it's like, what do you think it is? Can I do this better? Can I do something that?
But critiquing is very, very funny. I don't critique people's work. I don't, because I don't feel like arguing with you. And I find that a lot of people, when they critique other people's work, they're not actually critiquing, they're actually putting their artistic footprint on your work. Well, I would have done this, and I would have done like, that's not critique. So what I do is, if someone comes to me and say, Dallas, can you critique this photo? The first question I always ask is, did you achieve what you want? If the answer is yes, then there's nothing for me to critique. You're the artist. This is what you wanted me to see. You took the time to light it, compose the shot, expose the shot, shoot it, retouch it, and then you released it. So that told me by the time you released it to the world, this is what you wanted us to see. Now, in the same boat, if I come to you and I said, did you achieve what you want? And you went, no, I'll ask you, what did you try to achieve? And then we can have that discussion.
That's a good way to approach it.
But for me to say, I put the light here, if it was me, I'd have done the light to separate them from the background. That's not a critique. That's something I would have done on the photo. So it's no longer your photo. It's now my photo. For me putting my artwork, my artistry on your image. So keep that in mind. Just ask them, did you achieve what you want? And that's when you can open up and have a discussion. That's always been the best thing that worked for me.
Let me keep that in mind for sure. Because I could be brash sometimes. I try and work on that. I really do. Or just try and keep my mouth shut. But anyway, Dallas, this has been awesome. We have kept you, I think, long enough, sir. Thank you for your time.
No, thank you, gentlemen.
This has been a good conversation. For sure.
I really enjoyed myself. And John, I'm following you on Instagram right now, so I'm going to harass you.
Awesome. And don't be afraid to take me apart. I love it.
Yeah, facts.
The funny thing is, nobody's going to take anybody apart. Your art is your art. So if you like what you like, no one can say, oh, like, who's going to critique the Mona Lisa? It's like, that's what he wanted to do. You may not like Picasso, but that's what he wanted.
Facts. Sounds facts.
But gentlemen, thank you so much for having me. This was a wonderful time.
Thank you, sir. And
Thanks for coming.
Just tell everybody once again where they can find you at and all that good stuff.
Well, if you do any kind of Googling on Dallas J. Logan, you'll find me. But on Instagram, my name is I am Dallas J. Logan.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. We will most definitely be plugging people to you and putting certain things and check this man out. And Dallas, always continue and much success. And when you get to the East Coast, please hit me up.
Almost definitely.
For sure. Man.
Thank you, gentlemen. Have a good night.
You too.
Thank you.
Good night.
Oh, he took off.